is that this was a fully functional ward. This is where they did hydrotherapy. The tile is unique to for the Frances Farmer room. Frances Farmer, probably our most famous patient here at the hospital. So we have a room dedicated to her memory.
Walking around Western, there's a sense of history because it's just entrenched, since before the building, before everything else, the indigenous people all the way up. Because Western State was actually here before Washington was a state. We were founded in 1871, and the state was in 1889. So we predate the state. So overall, the land that Western State is on started with indigenous tribe. This was a hunting ground. As time went by and more settlers were coming into the area, the British naval ships were coming through. The Hudson Bay Company wanted to set up a trading post to help supply the ships. And then eventually the U.S. military took it over. There were structures here in place, and then they built that up for a military fort. After the Civil War, the military no longer needed Fort Steilacoom, and so it just removed the soldiers, but the structures were still in place. So with the structures being in place, a couple businessmen got the idea, as more and more settlers are moving into the area, it was identified that there's some people that need some help. And so how about we use the structures here to help house and provide that support for the mentally ill. So, and that's kind of how Western got its first in August 19th, 1871. First patients moved in at that time was military barracks and military structures. I think overall the treatment of mental illness has definitely changed over the course of time. I think the underlying thread is always trying to figure out what is the best treatment for the patient and try to help out someone that's in need and how to get that best support. You can look at that with hydrotherapy, which is pretty much alternating cold water and kind of warm water or hot water and trying to see if we can get some change in behavior with that. So there's always that constant thread of how can we best benefit the person with the tools on hand. And even now, there's a lot of questions that we're still trying to figure out with mental illness as far as what causes it. Is it genetic? Is it environmental? Is it a combination of both? Is it what's really driving the factors with it? And that's really what we're doing now. You're really partnering with different disciplines to try to identify why the person's in the hospital, how can we help them, and through different treatments, through medications. So it's really a multifaceted approach. And I think that's always been true, but I think it's definitely more discipline heavy now and looking at it the best we can. There's a lot of different cultures from the world that work here, which is fantastic. So you get to share stories and hear people's experiences from all over the globe. There's so much strength in the diversity of the staff that's here. So there's a large sense of community and fellowship. I think that's one thing that really helps. It just keeps you really feel good about your job.